Everybody. Today we've got John Kirk and myself in here, and we are going to be covering uh, creative financing and some lead gen using Metapage's sites for your lead generation to help establish your credibility, influence, and authority online. If you've got any questions, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're watching afterwards, you're going to have to put the question in and we'll get back to you on it. But you can also reach out to us at info@Metapages. But as you fire into questions, you can see them pop up on the right-hand side of the screen, and we will try to answer them as we roll along. So just a couple of housekeeping notes. We are currently offering a special. So anyone that signs up for Minute Pages, we've got a $199 fee typically for a white glove concierge setup where we set up your entire site for you, have it up and running and hand it over to you. Like ridiculously fast. You sign up for it today, we'll have your site to you by the end of the day up and running. The only thing that you would have to do is get us access into whoever your DNS domain provider is. So whether it's Google, GoDaddy, Namecheap, or any other dozens of website providers out there, we can also walk you through how to do that. But we can get you up and running. If you need a logo, we can put together a logo. You name it, we can do it. Also, for real estate agents, we are just about done and completed with all of our templating for IDX websites. So by the end of the year, we expect to have IDX websites with our lead stock information on it, where we're able to capture anonymous visitors to your site. So that feature will be coming out shortly. So if you are a real estate agent and you're looking for a website that is SEO optimized, beautifully designed, ready to go, and your sellers and buyers can look on your site for homes rather than using the trash MLS. I'm sure you guys all have seen that email that goes out and it's a pain in the rear to look through. You'd have a much better looking site, better performing site, and be able to connect directly with your customers. So all of that said, John, take it away.
Thank you, Maestro. Appreciate that and the breakdown. And hope everybody's doing great today. I'm super excited about today to be able to share, with everybody what we've been working on here in this shifting, crazy, and turbulent market that everybody is experiencing right now. So if you've been active in the real estate market, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You hear Justin Colby reference it, that we've been experiencing one of the greatest recorded markets in history just until recently, right? And if you've been in the market before 07 and 08 and you knew what that crash was like, you knew that this one wasn't going to last forever, this amazing market, right? So, there's a couple different sides of the coin now, because sellers are now further apart from buyers, more than they've ever been before. And it's more difficult than ever to bridge that gap, especially with the rising interest rates. The buying power is reducing. So the ability to be able to purchase what we could, even 3 weeks ago, even 3 days ago, it's changing every single day. You're seeing a correcting market take place. And we have to go out there and we still have to make deals happen. The issue is that now more than ever, credibility, influence, and authority is more important than it's ever been. And being able to not be a one-trick pony when it comes to providing solutions and solving problems for your sellers, buyers, and investors is the utmost important thing in today's market. Now, being that we're supposed to be great listeners as real estate sales professionals, we have to be even better listeners than we were before. And we cannot kind of go in with an agenda of a one-size-fits-all approach. That's fitting a square peg into a round hole type saying. You have to listen to the seller, really let them speak. And then you have to have a toolbox of solutions to be able to go in there and be like, okay, this is going to be the best solution for your situation. What I mean by that is, me being a realtor, me also being an investor, there's two ways that I can help people conventionally sell their property. So when I would meet with sellers, I would go in there and I would see a listing, or I would see more than likely an investment opportunity for me to buy wholesale, fix and flip the property myself, or assign it to another investor, make a wholesale fee, and then go ahead and relist it when it's ready. Those were my two buy boxes that I used to go in with. Today, they are probably, increased to about 4 or 5 different buy boxes now. So I'm going in now with more versatility than I went in before with. So when I'm competing against other people with just those 2 buy boxes, and then I come in with 5, 6, or 7 different options, and they're actually favorable and attractive options to that seller, the likelihood of them doing business with me over somebody else, as long as they see my credibility online and on social media with my websites, is so much stronger. So what are those options, right? And we like to call them creative financing options, right? Being dynamic in this market is what, like Justin Colby, my mentor, likes to say. And there's a way to go into it. We're not going to really go through all of that because it takes time to wrap your head around how to do it. But I'm going to explain as much as I can today in this half-hour period and really unpack it so it's something that you could take away and implement into your own business. So for me personally, the way that I go into appointments today as a realtor, when I set the appointments, I'm using my credibility, my influence, and my authority with my Minute Pages website, whether I'm using my investor or my realtor hat. I'm walking in and I'm trying to be an anthropologist. I'm just looking at things in its natural state and observing and trying to listen to the seller. And then when I speak, I'm laying out a slew of options, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and you let me know what side of the fence that you're on. So typically, because I'm a realtor, I can come in and I can list and sell this property for you for X amount of dollars. Let's say it's $250,000. I think the property is worth, to make math easy. I say that's one way we can sell your property. Of course, there's going to be commissions, transfer taxes, recordation fees. In today's day and market, buyers and their agents, they're requesting for property inspections, requests and repairs, credits, as well as seller concessions. So it's a different market than it was, 3-6 months ago, and it will be a different market in 3-6 weeks from now than it currently is right now. So I paint that picture. We can absolutely go ahead and list your property. Or as an investor, we can come in and we can give you an all cash offer. Typically, the all cash offer is going to be a lot lower than where those people are looking to accept today. And then once they see those 2 options, and I lay out the 3rd and 4th, and I say, or we can get creative where, we can either give you more than what the property is worth, which I like to call creative financing. And this works only if the balance of the mortgage is paid off. And there's another way that I'll tell you it works where there is no equity. People are more what I like to call in pain. So this is the seller that's in pleasure. They have no balance on their mortgage. They have 100% equity, and they don't want to give their property away. They think their house is worth X amount of dollars, and they're justified based on the way that the market has risen over the last 3, 6, 9 months, or even 2 or 3 years. They've just been watching, and they've seen that steady increase. The thing that they don't know, or most of them don't know, is that it's already come back down, and parts is on its way down. Certain pockets are still remaining strong, but the overall correction has happened. We're already in it. It's happening, and it's going to continue to happen. So for them to get more than what their house is worth, where I say, hey, Mr. Seller, what if we could potentially allow you to name your price, as the great Pace Morby says, and we can name our down payment and our monthly payment, essentially upgrading you from the seller to the bank, the owner to the bank, which is another thing that Pace says that I love and I use today. And it really gets their wheels turning. And when you come in here and you're speaking, articulate, and you're educated, and you've got the credibility, the influence, and the authority from my social and my online presence, from my website, my Google My Business profile, you're seeing lights turn on in sellers for the first time that I'm not used to in 10 to 12 years of just conventionally selling listings and buying property. Now I feel like I'm serving them more than I ever have before, because they're like, Jonathan, you can do that? And I say, yes, absolutely, I can. So Pete, allow me, if I can, to share my screen so I could do a couple quick case studies of some deals that we've just done, deals that we're working on right now, and deals that I know are coming down the pipe with creative financing, subject to paying off people's mortgages, as well as seller finance deals.
You should be all set to share now. Let me know if it's not letting you do it.
Okay, here we go. Share screen. Alrighty, so that's the wrong window. So let me stop sharing that screen. Let's try and share another screen. Let's see here. Here we go. Perfect. Let's share this one. All right, can you guys see my screen here at Zillow, Pete?
Hang on, not yet. Let's see what it's not showing up here. I think I might have to add you as a source. They've definitely they've changed it out here. You should be able to share though. So are you seeing it on your side or no?
No, I'm still seeing me.
I got it.
Perfect. All right,
Now
so let
you're
me go back.
have at
Sorry, I
it.
have to showcase Zillow, Pete, but I just wanted to keep everything in alignment here for just math purposes. So here's 2900 and 2902 Silver Hill Avenue, Gwen Oak, Maryland. This lead actually came off of our site. This was one of the first ones. This seller, had a specific situation where they did not want their tenants to be disturbed. It's a 4-unit double duplex here, and they didn't want to let anybody in the property. I thought, and I'm not getting any numbers here, but I did some comps. I thought it was probably worth maybe 300 to 350, but the market right now is substantiating maybe 295, under 300,000. So for this one in particular, I offered her seller financing terms. I gave her $375,000 for this property right here, and certain terms in exchange.
And
We
that is
put 30.
her price, your terms, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I wanted to do 350. She said 375. I said, okay, so I've got to win on the down payment and the monthly payment. So we put $35,000 down. And because I knew this property was cash flowing $3,700 a month between all 4 units that were filled, I offered $2,500 a month. I really offered less. I started at 15 and she got me up to 25. That was still okay because it still cash flowed $1,200 a month. And the best part, Pete, 0% interest. So I knew that this deal would be appealing to sellers or to buyers and investors because the debt to income ratio wouldn't be an issue and interest rates had already exploded at this point. So I ended up assigning this one to another gentleman for $410,000. So that's a $35,000 delta on that one. I ended up splitting the $35,000 with the person that brought me the buyer. And since then, we've done more business together. So that's just an example real quick. And I can unshare the screen as well. Let me see if I can do that real quick. That's an example of how a seller can win in today's market because they did not have to disturb their tenants, right? They paid me no commissions. There was no transfer taxes, recordation fees. They will net $375,000 in 7 years. So I forgot to mention that I negotiated a 7-year term for that property. So the buyer that purchased that contract from me, where I had it at 375, $35,000 down, $2,500 a month, 0% interest for 7 years. So then the seller would receive the 375 inside 7 years or sooner. That other person right away, he was like, what else do you got? Right. So because
with a 0% interest, that's key in that piece right there. So everyone's saying, oh, you overpaid for that property. Where else can you go? And you're going to get a cash flowing property, 0% interest, no other transfer recordation taxes involved in there. So that's where the creative financing really comes in. And a chunk of that, you walk in with something like that, no one's going to believe you until they go and look up your site and see that you're legitimate, you're online, you've been up for a while, you're putting out content. That helps close that deal.
You're absolutely right. The seller would have net under 300,000 and they would have paid transfer and capital gains taxes as well. And I just got an offer on one of my listings today. I just saw 6.875 was the interest rate, Pete. And that's for homeowner occupant. So the investor rates are going to be even higher than that. So
100%.
anybody that can get a 0% interest rate, they're loving life when they're buying property today. So that's when working with sellers that are in a state of pleasure where they've got, and I say pleasure meaning they're not in pain, like who I'm about to introduce to you and show in case study for you guys. They don't need to sell. They're not desperate to sell. They don't want to give their asset away. So when you're able to give them the ability to really, really feel like they've won on the sales price of their number, then they would and should and usually do allow you, if you position it and approach them right, to get a win for your down payment and your monthly payment. So that buyer that purchased that property, he's walking into $1,200 a month cash flow right away. He didn't increase his debt to income ratio. He used no credit to purchase the property. Nobody looked into him with his credentials, and he put a very limited amount of cash down where he would have at least put 20% down, which would have been over $100,000. He got access to this deal for $65,000, $70,000 at a 0% interest rate. So now let's flip the script here to people where I really believe the focus should be, because they need help and they're quicker to action because they're more in a state of discomfort that they want to get out of. For example, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. Pete, let me go ahead and see if I can do this. Here we go. So here's a deal that I just put under contract here on 1536 Boyle Street. Lovely couple. They've been at the property for 42 years in Locust Point, Riverside area. Most folks know it as Federal Hill, right? It's a real hot spot here in Baltimore City where the young kids like to go, the young professionals. So they wanted to sell their property. I went and met with them. Their mortgage balance is about $184,000. Their house is not worth $265,000. It would be worth this if it had maybe, $25,000, $30,000 worth of really high level work done to it. In my opinion, if you put in $100,000 to this, you're all in for $360,000. You could probably retail it for $425,000 to $450,000. Easy, just because of this area it is. Area that it's in. Throw on a rooftop deck and you're good. But I'm not looking at it from that angle. I said, guys, the way we sell this property, if you owe $184,000, it just doesn't work on these numbers. You owe $184,000 and the house is really worth $200,000. So guys, if the house is worth $200,000, here, I just unshared the screen again, then after my commissions, after seller concessions, after property inspections, repairs and replacements, you're going to be cutting a check coming to this table to sell this property. So I laid that option out. That's obviously not an option. Or what we can do, since you said your mortgage balance is $142,000, your monthly payment is $1,200 a month. That's perfect. So I went ahead and I did some math and I said, typically I should be able to rent this property for, let's say, $1,800 a month, which, his estimate says $2,000. That's if it's in a little bit better condition. I think I can get $2,000 for that. So I was in the kitchen table, right in the kitchen with this family doing math. I'm saying, look, at $600 a month, if I'm making that profit right now, times 12, that's $7,200 a year. I said, I typically like to get my sellers their investment back within 24 months. They were a lovely couple. The house is so lovely. I knew that there was value in this deal, and I wanted to get the sellers as much money as they possibly could to go buy their modular house. The husband had fallen through the wall. He had a broken neck and a scar down his neck. Poor son, when he was 29 years old, had a heart attack. Everybody was not doing good. And the steep steps in these Locust Point row homes, especially on Boyle Street, if you guys know, they're very, very steep. It's scary. People can get hurt and they need a modular or a rancher. So in order to do that, they need at least 20 grand. So I gave them a 36-month return on that $7,200 a year that this property would generate, multiplied times 3. I said, $21,000. This is what I can give you guys to walk away from this home, to transfer the deed into my name and allow me to take over your mortgage payments for the next 7 years. And on year 7 or sooner, I'll pay off the balance of the mortgage wherever it is. And they said, that would make me really happy if we can go ahead and do that. It was the easiest deal that I had ever done, right? And their mortgage is up to date. Water payments up to date. We're just going through the fine details, getting the paperwork locked up. And I had a buyer before I even walked out. I already knew who was going to buy that property. They can utilize it as a rental because we've got a 7-year term, but more than likely they're going to go down, dig into the basement, and they're going to fix and flip it. So that is another example of how you can get a seller who would be bringing a check to table for settlement, $21,000 to walk away from their property when they could have never done that before. So this is the magic of creative financing. And I'm just going to kind of show you guys how easy it is to wrap your head around this, because I'm working on multiple deals right now. Here's another one, 821 South Rose Street. Got this one locked up yesterday. I just posted it on my Facebook. So this one is actually still available if somebody wants to take over this seller's mortgage payments. It's a $142,000 balance. They're willing to give a 5 to 7 year term, and they're just looking for $25,000 to walk away from this. This is in the heart of Canton, Pete, right off Boston Street, right on the water. Comps for this, if you were to pop the top or dig down, I'd recommend popping the top on this one in specific, because the neighbor right there, you could see they did that. They sold for $350 or $360, I think, a couple years ago. So, and it wasn't a full renovation. So there's value in all these deals, guys, where most people see trash, I see gold, right? So here's another one that's closing, that's already closed. We're just waiting for final documentation to be submitted. Seller just wants out. The tenants are in the property. These guys came off of our website as well. And we tried to go the listing and conventional route. I was learning the creative financing strategy while I was working with this seller, and just chiseled it down to be a really favorable deal to the person that's going to be taking it over and buying it. Mortgage payments are fixed at $1,300 a month at a 3% interest rate. You see what you can get right here, moving a tenant in, turnkey, balance is $184,000. You're walking into instantaneous equity here. The seller's only getting $5,000. He's done with it because he wants the tenants out. So the buyer is going to go ahead and take that over. Go ahead.
Notice on every one of these that John's pulled up and showed, every single one of them shows off market because none of them actually hit the market.
They're all off market. Here's another one. This one's closing Friday. 166 Kingston Park Lane, Middle River. This one is very interesting. This gentleman purchased this property for $475 in 2018. Pete, I think I told you about this one, and he's going to be seller financing it to a client of mine that's buying it. 0% interest, $2,500 a month monthly payments, right? 3-year term, but he's going to make it his residence. So he's going to put $100,000 down, right? So this is another unique one. Here's another one that seller owns that we're going to be working on. Amazing case study for us right here. He wants $600,000 for it. He bought it for $500,000. So we'll give him $600,000. We could even give him $650,000, Pete. You know why? Because we could put maybe $25,000 or $35,000 down, and we can give him $1,500 a month or even $2,000 a month, and then rent it out for $3,500 or $3,000 a month, and get that cash flow coming in right away, paying you back within 24, 36 months, maybe sometimes 4 or 5 years, depending on the asset that you're buying. But it's all relative based upon what your growth model is with real estate and wealth building. A lot of people, they like to buy and hold long term, and they don't want their debt to income ratio to increase, or a bank to tell them that you can't afford, sir or ma'am, to buy this property. Well, the heck with that. Yes, I can, because I don't even need you anymore. And now we're upgrading the owners to the bank and the seller financing when they own the property outright. And then we're helping these sellers move from pain to relief when nobody else could give them that relief, because everybody else is trying to fit a round peg into a square hole by listing the property, charging them 6%. Closing costs, transfers, property inspections, credits. They can't do that anymore. The world is changing. The real estate market is changing. The way that you approach your sales business in real estate also has to change with it. And now more than ever, you have to have credibility, influence, and authority to cut through and build that validity with total strangers to become, that client relationship that you're looking for.
And you'll note too that all these deals that John's pulled up, they're not trash properties. So we're not talking about picking up a $25,000, $30,000 house, putting 50 into it and flipping it for, another 25 or 50K. That last one there is 600,000. That's in Freeland. I live there. I know the area. I know the cost and the price. And you might think $3,000 is a lot to rent. It's not even close to what the mortgage payment on one of those would be. So now if somebody's at a sweet deal to make it work, especially in that area. If you look at mortgage payments right now at a place like that with a 7% rate, or like you said, somebody 20% down conventional, looking at 6.875, arm and a leg.
Yeah, and the school zone there, Pete, the Hereford zone, so I don't have to tell you. That's the best schools in Baltimore County. So you'll find a tenant that wants to pay $3,500 a month, and the land that it's sitting on. So folks, these deals are right underneath your nose. If you're a listing agent, you've got listings that are sitting, do an underwriting analysis of them. Review the balance of the mortgage. Is it paid off? Is it not paid off? What would the seller's net at the current situation if you were to sell it as is right now with your commissions versus, how much money could you make every single month if you were to either take over their mortgage payments and get a tenant in there, right? And then, see what that adds up to. That might be how much money you could just give them over that added up to 3 years to just walk away from the property, transfer the deed into your name, right? Acquire another property, or own or finance it with them and blow their mind. And that property in Middle River, Pete, it's selling for $700,000. My seller purchased it for $475 in 2018. And not even a little over than 4 years later, he's selling it for over $225,000 more than what he bought it for. And guess how much work he's done to it since he's bought it? None. He's going to save probably $39,000 on commissions, on work on the deck, repairs, replacements, seller concessions, capital gains, property taxes, you name it. I mean, this is game-changing stuff, guys. Get creative, get dynamic. It'll change the way that you forever do business. And I mean, in the foreseeable future, do you see the market landscape changing anytime soon with where interest rates are right now?
Now, we just had a call a little bit earlier today. I think interest rates are going to probably spike up a little bit at the end of the year here when the Fed goes and raises rates again on December 14th. I think they're calling for another 75 basis points. That'll get baked in over the next month into the numbers. So we might spike all the way up to 8, maybe even a hair higher. But I think we'll eventually, the people way smarter than me, like if you look at like MBS Highway, people that do this literally day in, day out, studying the numbers, think we're going to settle into like a 5.5 to 6.5 range midway to end of 2023 is what they're currently at least expecting. That could change, obviously, but then nobody really has that magic 8 ball. But for the foreseeable future, the rates are going to stay higher. So deals like this are going to be what gets you the best yield. I see that Rush had a question about do you need to try and stay around a certain percentage of ARV? That's only going to be applicable when you're actually doing a property that you're going to want to flip or have work done. These deals you're working out, you're looking at the house the way it is right now. And you're going in there saying, okay, I know I can turn around and rent this thing for $2,000 a month in the shape that it's in now. Maybe you need to put like lipstick on a pig and throw some paint and carpeting in or some LVP. So it's not a lot of investment. But if you can rent it at $2,000 and you know their mortgage payment is $1,200, that's $800 a month that you're going to cash flow. And as John said, you map it out for the year so you can get in there to get those folks that need to get out or want to get out and have no other options. So like he was saying, they're seeing a pain point where, man, if I try to sell this house retail right now, I got to bring 5-10 grand to the table and I don't have it. I can't afford to mortgage anymore. I am SOL, but this guy's coming in and going to hand me 25K. Like,
yeah, I mean, they think like they don't even know who you. They're like, who are you and where did you come from? It's the craziest feeling. I mean, like big shout out to the boys Justin Colby and Pace Morby. I mean, this is where it comes from. So if anybody needs help speaking to any sellers, I'll straight partner with you on these deals. I have agents reaching out to me. I have investors reaching out to me often saying, hey, dude, like what's up with this deal? Help me walk through this. And I'll get on the phone and help you close your seller. I mean, we don't have to partner. We can if you want to. It's completely up to you. I know sometimes it needs, that repetition over time of hearing it over and over and over again before you can really wrap your head around explaining it effectively. And I found myself the same way, Pete, this is crazy, the same way I stumbled upon to doing good listing presentations and taking listings, where I found myself mid-listing like, damn, dude, you're getting good. This is the best appointment you've been on. It just happened to me on Boyle Street where I was like, holy shit, dude, you're getting really freaking good at explaining this. And it's just because I'm focused on it over and over again. So if anybody needs help, I'm happy to help. 443-928-4550. You can call, text me anytime. If you have listings that are sitting and the balance and the mortgages are paid off and your sellers are just not trying to give that property away, let's make a deal. Let's get you guys paid instead of you giving that listing back to them and them coming in contact with somebody else that can have a creative solution for them. Let's propose that to them today. On the flip side of the coin, if you have sellers that are stuck, they've got no equity, you can't even afford to receive a commission to sell their property, call me. We can make a deal happen. More than likely, I'll underwrite the file within 15 minutes. And I'll tell you whether or not we've got a deal, and then we can work it together. I can show you how to do it. You can do it on your own, whatever you like. Just know that there's options in today's day and age. People are starving for options and starving to win because a lot of people are just losing right now. So when you can deliver such a win where it's an unquestionable, like, holy crap, I just won, that makes me happy. Write that up, Jonathan. It also feels better when you're doing that type of business compared to you receiving an $8,000 check at settlement and you see your seller bringing a check for $5,000 to the table and you want to take a picture at settlement. It's like, nah, nobody's trying to take a picture with you at settlement right there. I just lost $5,000 on this investment that you just sold me a couple years ago. No fault to you. It is the market that did its thing. Yet, it wasn't the best overall solution for me compared to what's available today. And that's the most important thing. That's why we're here today. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I wanted to keep this under a half an hour. We're like just about there, Maestro, aren't we?
Yep, right about on the line there. And remember too, this isn't just Baltimore. And John's obviously working the Baltimore market right now, but this is nationwide. So it's applicable wherever you are in the country, whether you're an agent, whether you're an investor, and you got deals that you need worked. We can definitely help you with that, whether it's us doing it or people in our network. Either way, we can connect you and get those deals done. And again, circling back up to what we've got going on for Minute Pages, John's got his site out there, nationwidehomebuyer.com. That will, you can see what a Minute Page site looks like. You can see the credibility, influence, and authority that gets built out by putting out the information out there. So we're not going to necessarily throw the terms like this out there, but as you start putting your testimonials and the deals that you have done, and you've got people who are like, hey, I would have lost money. Instead, I got a check because John brought me a check, or brought me an investor, brought me a deal that brought this check in. That people want that social proof. They need to see it. They are, make no mistake, they are absolutely 100% going to look you up online. They're going to Google you, whether you're going in with your business name or you're going in just your own name. You got to have it out there. You need to have a site up and running. Otherwise, they're going to look for you. You can't find you. Like, well, who's this guy saying he's going to give me money? If you don't have an online presence in this day and age, you're just not going to get the deal. Not going to happen.
Doesn't matter how good you are. And yeah, just to go up and answer your question, which I know Pete covered on Rush, you don't need to stay around a certain ARV, like Pete said, unless you're flipping it. We're working this on a 24 to 36 month return on how much we make every single month on the property. And then we sell that as a rental long-term, or you're selling it as a fix and flip based on the ARV. And Pete, it's nationwidehomebuyers.co.
Yep.
Right? Not .com. So guys, go to nationwidehomebuyers.co. That is my flagship website. That's the one that I use. And again, like Pete said, we're nationwide. So if you folks have deals anywhere in the country that you need help with, you can pick up the phone. You can call me. I'll walk you through it. Happy to do it. It's going to be something that you're going to really enjoy having in your toolbox.
Awesome. All right, guys. We will see you next week, every Wednesday, 12 o'clock. We go live. So if you've got questions, you can post them up. You can obviously also reach out to support@minutepages.com if you've got any questions for us. And there we go. See you guys next week.
See you guys later.